Did we get an update? Was the story that the air quotes streaker at the Super Bowl, did he bet $50,000 on himself and make $370,000 as the internet claimed?
All the gambling people I follow, every single one of them claimed 100% not believable. Because
Urban
I guess
legend.
in the prop world, especially with like MyBookie, for example, I could make a large wager on the Super Bowl, 10,000 or whatever, and I think most books are like this. On props, novelty props, they typically have like $300 maximum or whatever. You can't bet unless you go into like the MGM 50,000 on the coin flip, let alone something like there's going to be a streaker, because you could be the streaker.
You could be the streaker, right?
And then as I mentioned to you, listen, I'm not trying to be a hater here or a negative Nancy, and maybe it's just my natural move is when everyone is doing a jerk off session for something funny. It's like, it can't be that funny. And it's like the Kevin Harlan thing. So I just refuse to like get that much enjoyment out of it. And maybe I'm just a hater, negative Nancy on that. But I did click on it the other day. He had shorts on. He was not naked. I didn't see a penis
he had shorts
or a
on
butt.
and a thong.
Yeah,
or like a onesie type situation.
To me, a streaker, man or woman, I'll give you shoes. You cannot have anything on your lower extremities. Like, to me, a streaker is everything is showing from your,
shoes,
your dick's flopping around.
Shoes acceptable, hat acceptable. That's it.
Yeah, sunglasses maybe.
Sunglasses. Oh, he's going for the chain link fence.
But like, I'd give would you call it a streaker if it was a guy and he had on like a little tank top, but nothing else? Like, I'd still, if like your penis and your ass is, out, I'd probably give you the benefit of the doubt. You go shorts, like, no, bro, you could have just been at the beach. No one would have noticed. If no one would notice you at an American beach with your apparel, you're not a streaker in my book.
Well,
I need nudity.
I would say like there's a beach in San Francisco where you cross an imaginary line and all of a sudden everyone's naked. Ocean Beach.
Didn't you say you were walking down the street the other day and just two people were just holding hands naked?
This was a week ago Sunday. Went to the Castro. There's a really good coffee shop there named called Spikes.
Okay.
And went for a little stroll.
Can you walk from the Castro from your house?
No. We drove over there. I mean, I guess you could, but it was a long way. And just two older dudes walking down the street naked.
Good shape, or just like dad?
I luckily or unluckily, I only saw it. They were on the other side of the sidewalk and pretty far ahead of me, and then they turned the corner. They were wearing like Cat in the Hat, like these big top hats.
Yeah.
So all I got was wrinkly button back. But
Manscaped or hairy backs?
Not hairy backs. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe they shave each other's backs. I don't know. Manscaped.
They get service? Are you allowed to walk in anywhere, you think?
It's a great question. I would bet yes. I would bet absolutely yes. Because every shop on like that for like 3 blocks is just every name of every store is just a pornographic name.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever been to the Castro, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Where is that? South San Francisco?
No, I mean just off of Mission. I mean south of where you lived when you were in the city, yeah. But
yeah. So like it's on the other side of the Bay Bridge, or the I guess the 80 101, right?
No, because the 101 it kind of bends.
Oh, wraps around.
Yeah.
But it's down in that area.
Yeah. Yep.
Like where Comcast is, and you just kind of keep working your way down.
Kinda, because the whole grid is turned to the city, so it's not actually near Comcast. But yeah, it's further.
But if I'm at Comcast, I just keep driving down.
Yeah. If you headed,
it'll all run into it eventually.
Yeah, southwest.
Okay.
So,
Spikes, what's so great about their coffee? Is it just black or?
No, they just make good coffee. We went down there one day, and it's a dog-friendly cafe. We don't have a dog, and in COVID, there's really no dogs around. But they got pictures of people's dogs. I'd like to go there when there's a bunch of dogs there. But we went in one time, Christmas. We went in. They were very nice, and so we're like, oh, we just like coming out here.
Yeah, I think you'd like dogs, but then my mom called me this morning, and Callie, she's like a 9-10-year-old lab. She's like, yeah, just realized today Callie took a shit in the house. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I just looked over there and Callie had gone to the bathroom.
Is Callie losing it, you think?
Yeah, that's my first thought. And this is maybe feed her too early. I don't know. Not a good sign.
No, not a good sign at all. Yeah, I like dogs in theory.
Second time in like a month. Yeah.
Then our neighbor has a dog, and a very cute golden retriever.
If
Callie
was an
take the
NFL
dog
player,
out of me.
you probably wouldn't resign her.
Dogs are high maintenance.
Yeah, probably wouldn't.
Every
resign
dog is a diva wide receiver.
her. Yeah,
It just wants.
they
the
need a
ball.
lot of attention.
All right, send us pictures of your dogs.
Yeah, I love dogs.
The other piece of news we want to get into, because we both love golf, is that I see golf people are very angry, John. Not all golf people, some people. Okay, I saw a person. I'll be honest. Got to be careful about that. The PGA Championship is going to allow rangefinders. Like, you can put it to your eye. What do they call them? Like digital distance detectors, or there's like some official word for them. But my first reaction was I hate it, because I hate change in technology. But I actually, if it speeds the game up instead of guys staring at their yardage books for 5 minutes, maybe it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, I think the natural reaction of, not necessarily you,
No,
even though you kind of fell into this
No, I
category.
did.
The
I fell
media
into it.
is not gonna like it. My pushback would be, who fucking cares? Is it really changing that much? Because it feels right now, whenever whoever is in a big shot, or once the tournament starts, they're pretty locked in. So if you give them the advantage to, instead of doing that work pregame, right, for a golfer, it'd be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the caddy going around making marks. And let's face it, some of these courses a caddy's probably been to, if he's got a certain player on the bag or he's been around the tour a while, they've been to countless times, right? They know what tree, this is 137 yards. Like, these guys are pretty locked in from like a Belichickian level. And if you use football as an example, remember at first, like, as technology changed and the league did a deal with Microsoft Surface, and you're like, are you going to allow iPads and stuff on the sideline? And people were a little uneasy. And who was the first guy? Like, they'd hand him an iPad and he'd be working. It was Bill. Remember, he'd just have the iPad and he'd be doing stuff. And now every time you look, they all got iPads. Because back when we were like kids in the 90s, what would happen? They'd do that printout and you'd have guys over there on the sheet. Why do you need to do that? Like, the yardage book in the back of your head. Technology exists. You can still have the yardage book if you want. I think I 100%, every golf podcast I follow is going to be anti.
I know. That's why I thought very hard about my reaction to it.
What are the negatives? Is it giving anyone an advantage? They already have the distance.
Yeah, I think I would imagine, I would love to ask a professional golfer, ask Hunter, like, what percentage of misses are yardage misses, right? You see it a little bit. I remember a couple years ago on 18 at East Lake, Paul Casey's caddy gave him a wrong distance, and it was bad. They were way off. Yeah. But the good news for Paul Casey, he wasn't really in the mix, and so it didn't become a bad situation. But it's one of the funniest things I've seen on a golf course, because they go to his caddy. His caddy's like famous. His caddy's one of the more recognizable caddies on, and he's like got his hand over his mouth, and he's like, "Oh my God, I gave you the wrong yardage. Like, I just did the yardage wrong." Or maybe he gave him, like, hand him the wrong something. It was a yardage mistake, right? But for the most part, misses are just the shot. You miss the you don't hit what you want to hit, right?
But I think the Paul Casey thing, it just becomes a big talking point if it happens on Sunday. How often does that happen for someone you're not paying attention to on a Friday?
I'd
or
love
Thursday?
to know. Like, is that common or not?
Yeah. I bet it's decently. Yeah, I bet it's pretty common.
Because
maybe not like multiple times around, but a tournament for sure. You see it like when you watch a guy overhit. I was watching. I mean, I just having money on Scotty Scheffler. They would come up short and they come up long, and they look at their caddy and they shake. I just wonder how much different would that be if you know the exact yardage. Yeah, I guess if every single time there is no guessing, it takes some of the human element out, which makes it fun.
Yeah, the only other factor
like, is there no
wind.
Drama? Because part of that is drama.
Yeah,
right?
and
you want guys to hit shitty shots.
My natural reaction, I told you, and then I try to fight my natural reaction, but it doesn't mean my natural reactions. I'm open to the possibility that the human element has taken a beating, because we always bring it up when it comes to officiating and umpiring. But there's something to be said for the human element of the competitors having to be, their best without any assistance, and not closing the gap between the people that are really good at it and the people that aren't. Like, I'll say this, watching Bryson on the Greens Book forever, it's not great TV, but ultimately he works harder than other people at some things, and you should get the benefit of it when it comes to putting. Or you play extra practice rounds, or you walk around and really put in the extra work the days leading up, mapping the course. I mean, maybe you should be rewarded for it. So I'd be interested what the players say, because I think their opinion to me really matters on this subject.
Well, when I was like high school golf, rangefinders hadn't even been a thought in someone's mind yet. If you hit it on a certain hole, a lot of golf courses, I never got to play these sweet golf, just your average run-of-the-mill course, if you're going to play some high school team in Sacramento, like fucking Nevada Union, was marked 200, 150, 100, right? So if you're in the middle, you have to just pace it off. That's what humans did, and that's what essentially what caddies do on the tour. Now, I do think at their tournaments, it's probably more sprinkler heads are marked like every 10 yards or maybe 15 yards around. But in a lot of courses, in the history of the sport, even if you're playing your friend for $1,000, $5, whatever, until these rangefinders, you just had to pace it off. You're like, I'm at 90, I think, and then you pace it off. You don't know where it is. That's part of golf. You know, if you're just playing pickup with your buddies, you don't have a tee sheet to be like, well, the pin is 5 yards back, 7 yards back. You're like, how far is it past the bunker? They're like, probably like 7 paces. And you're just, that is not the way they operate already. Now, it does 100% take any guessing game out of it. There's never like, I hand you the wrong club. There's never, just based on the number that you get from the thing, and that's assuming the thing's 100% right. And it does feel like people think it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Well, it's a massive, right? The market for those things is huge. I see Blue Tees and all these other. There's one that's like bright green. They do a bunch of advertising. The Blue Tees one does a bunch of advertising. It's another marketplace that now maybe every.
Do you think technology, when you just look around sports, because it's clearly infiltrated its way into sports, I think for the most part, guy, it's been really beneficial. I know sometimes it takes a little time. There was a call, this chick who was calling the Warriors game against Spurs. Did they play the Spurs last night?
It was the charge on Steph Curry. They called a charge on Steph.
She just had some terrible calls. And you know the rules better than me. Like, are you just allowed one foul kind of challenge in the NBA?
Yeah, I gotta get updated on the rules this season, but I think you definitely get one challenge.
Maybe once a half.
Yeah, and you get it back, I think, if you get it right. But they tested in the G League a couple years ago, and it was really good.
So the rule is less than 5 years old, right? It's relatively new.
Yeah, I think it's less. This might be year 3 of being able to challenge, or year 2.
But my take on that rule, I like it, and that's something that I would imagine when it came in there. I'm sure maybe I don't know the media.
That one I remember when it came in, there was like no discussion. Like people, I don't think there was even much discussion about it when it came in.
Oh, people wanted it.
I just don't think there was any pushback from what I remember, because we had spent every postseason was that a charge? Was that a block?
Freaking out about the foul.
Yeah, and we're so used to replays in football. I mean, replays in football. Here's one. Pass interference was challengeable 2 years ago. It wasn't this last season. Did you miss it?
No. I like it. It's not challengeable.
I
give the NFL credit. They tried it, and they kind of rigged it because they told them to only do it on egregious ones. It never really got called. Got challenged a couple times. If I remember correctly, Gruden definitely challenged it a couple times. Failed every single time, and then they just threw it out. If all of a sudden it's like every dude in a tournament is like 30 plus under or something, just don't allow it anymore. I think it's pretty easy to pivot. The best part about these leagues, especially, the NFL is a great example. It feels like it's really difficult to change. No, they can do whatever the fuck they want. It's like, what's the salary cap going to be? It's going to be $110 million. Now it's $175 million. Now it's like, I think it's going to be $185 million. They can just pick and choose, right? Pass interference. We're like, it's going to ruin the league. It kind of was a little weird. They're like, I'll just throw it out. To me, at the rangefinders, you just move. It's like baseball. Try the runner on second base in overtime or extra innings. If it doesn't work, take it out. The DH, now there are other economic stuff going on there, but like some of the, to me, it's always my thing with Eric Burns on the, on the electronic strike zone.
Yeah.
Just try it. And if it sucks.
But they do. They've tried it in some levels of minor league baseball and in spring training.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I give them credit. And it's if you brought it to the big leagues and it was just, for whatever reason, did not work, and it was like you had dudes taking their bat and taking out the robot or whatever. I don't even know if there would be a robot there, but whatever. And it was a bad, you would just cancel it. It's not like you're not getting married to any of these ideas.
Yeah.
That's why I love the rangefinder idea. Now, maybe there's a chance we'd have to ask people. It becomes too easy for these guys.
Yeah, and I think what's nice about it is it's only going to be in one event. So we don't have to go like a whole year with it and then a whole year and then see what we think. Like, you'll just see it in an event, and we'll have an opinion that weekend of what we thought it was like, and we'll hear what the players think about it. right? Like immediately.
The other thing is the players don't have it in their hand, right? The guy has it and he tells them.
Right.
Like their caddy's going to shoot it.
Yeah.
You'd think maybe a couple players do it. Like, no, Jimmy, hand me the.
Well,
hand me the
Titleist
thing."
might be like, no, we need you holding it for the photo. We've got a new line of rangefinders coming out, and we need, if you could hold it, please, that'd be fantastic. On 18 coming up, it's like it's a putt. No, if you could really, it's a 60-yard chip. If you could please just hold it up.
Oh, Bryson's gonna have a. You see Bryson? I saw him doing an interview the other day at DraftKings on the side of his hat. It's like, oh,
Yeah, I remember he joined the team recently.
Yeah, well, I knew that, but I didn't realize they put the logo on his little cap.
Where did they do it for the first time? Was it the PGA Championship last year, maybe, where he ended up?
Yeah, it was. I think it was definitely like the Corona comeback. It was a pretty big deal when he signed. Maybe the Masters. I thought it was a little later in the year, but I could be. All of these months run together.
So last year, the NBA brought in the challenge on a one-year basis. They approved it, and you get one, and you lose it. And,
one thing I need
there
to
you go.
watch, because obviously we talk a lot about it, is the PGA Tour on Peacock Premium ran a special broadcast gambling only. Like every shot, the odds of hitting the green, live odds, and it was just gambling. You know, everything was gambling related.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, you know, especially as technology becomes a la carte, right? As everything just becomes app-wise, right? And we're all YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, and Peacocks, and all these things. I mean, some of you guys listening are already doing it. Me and Haberman are like living in 2009 with our cable boxes, which I still feel comfortable with because I need some certainty with my TV.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I end up on Netflix or Amazon Prime a lot anyway. That's the irony of the whole thing. Like during the week when there are no games on, there's nothing really to watch on normal TV unless I'm going to watch like Golf Channel or the news.
Yeah.
I don't really watch like TNT that much like a Warriors game, right? But just how often, I mean, we're talking a lot about gambling. It's clearly infiltrating in fantasy. Are there just these separate broadcasts for all the games? Football, basketball, baseball. Now, there's got to be a market there. And I think golf, just because there's just one event, it's probably a little different with like all these baseball games going on, right? You wouldn't just do it for a Giants game. There wouldn't be enough. Probably be a little easier with football to just do live odds, kind of
Live
like
prep, live prop.
Yeah, like a mixture of the red zone meets gambling. It actually is made for it just on Sundays, right?
Yeah,
Basically,
to me,
just Hansen is a gambling
You remember
guy.
that league that Johnny Manziel played in? Didn't he play in a league where like all the plays were going to be called by fans watching on their phones? You remember that?
XFL?
No, it wasn't the XFL. It was like another league, and like all the play calls were going to come from fans watching on their phones.
I feel like Johnny Manziel's doing like 7 leagues because he's in one right now.
Which, in theory, that's great, but like you got to be really locked in to start voting on plays. Whereas they're on to something like the technology of having people interact during the game. They're on to something, but let's let the experts call the plays. The idea is smart. I don't hate it. Like, hey, it's like Madden. You get to.
But guy, that's my point. I think we're a little
but
early.
do it with gambling.
But my point is, Middlecoff Damas. I think in the next decade you're going to see those kind of thrive.
Well,
baseball's
really
done
gambling
it kind of
with
related.
Baseball's done it with the analytics baseball broadcast that ESPN sometimes does, right? I forget what they call it.
How boring is that to watch?
You know, it's fine. I've watched it.
That was a joke.
It's fine. You know, and ESPN's done it for championship games, like national championship football with their coaches broadcast. And my problem with all those is like, I want the game as big. Like I don't need to watch like the game on a smaller screen than when I'm watching it on. Right. But sometimes they're interesting. I remember I talked to somebody.
I think the hard part on that one is if you could get the most famous 5 or 6 coaches not in the game, like Lincoln Riley, you know, Mario, whoever, you know, Matt Campbell, and they were on the broadcast.
Why won't you say Nick Saban's name?
Well, he's in the game.
He's in the game.
Yeah. You know, but I'm just saying, whoever gets knocked out in the first round. So like this year, it would have been Dabo, and who'd Alabama beat? I don't even remember who they played. Notre Dame. Brian Kelly. Yeah. So you get Dabo, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley,
Jim McElwain.
I do think would have a little more juice, but they end up getting Mac, which
Yeah.
is cool. Me and you know him, but I think for the average guys like McElwain, this half.
It's always like Steve Adazio. Yeah, it's always a Boston College guy.
Yeah, Jed Fish should be all over it, and
Jed
it's just
Fish
like
will
it is
definitely be on it.
cool, but it doesn't have as much star power.
I talked to somebody a couple months ago.
Oh, he's got the
who
one
told me
fired guy, like the dude that got fired from Auburn years ago is always on it.
Chiswick, yeah. Well, he does
always,
SEC
like,
Network. I think he works for SEC Network for ESPN.
He's always running the clicker. Like, what do you guys think?
No, I thought Luganbill's always running the clicker.
Yeah, Luganbill does it. Yeah, sometimes too.
I talked to a guy a couple months ago who told me he knows the guy that PGA hired to bring on to help them with Golf Bet, which is what you're talking about. It's like the PGA proprietary betting app. And
they're going to try to have their own DraftKings, right?
Yeah, but he was like, if you notice, like all their people push it really hard, they're not getting a ton of action on it. But that was what I heard a couple months ago, that Golf Bet was not really taking off for them. So they're going to go all in on trying. I mean, they obviously have gone all in on it, but they're really trying to push it. Like if you watch, I was watching last week, I'm sure it'll pop up Thursday, where on Golf Channel, they're bringing on their person who's doing the props for Golf Bet, and like they're really trying.
Well, I think it's difficult.
It's
like Fox. Have you seen the way Fox does with like Fox Bet?
I think
they have the same idea.
Yeah.
And I think it's natural that your people, it's not going to be their number one thing is like they're going to do content. They're going to talk about the game, and they're going to intermix that. DraftKings or FanDuel or MyBook, whoever, that is their sole business. It's just talking gambling, fantasy, like that is, they're pushing the shit out of it. The other thing kind of gets lost because Golf Bet, for example. So let's say Golf Channel is supposed to push Golf Bet too. It's not really natural for like maybe, Justin Leonard, Brandel Chambly to talk about it. And then it does feel like you're already playing one of the other ones because they've already been pushed to you through us or whoever you're listening to or whatever you're watching. It's hard to compete. To me, the leagues, I would just do it, and they don't want to because they think it's like, why am I spending someone else's money when I can just do it myself? Well, they're mastering that. You've mastered football, golf, or whatever. Partner with them. They need you just as much as you need them. You can make a lot of money off them, and it's easier.
I don't know exactly. So I'm just reading Golf Bet powered by the Action Network, but it's also, when I click on it, it says brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. So okay. But I think to your point is like they're trying to make
I think they kind of gave in to DraftKings because they needed
Okay.
them.
You need to be wherever, like I can't have you just disappear from my betting life for 6 months. Like your whole app, I don't go on your app anymore, right? As an example, Daily Fantasy or MyBookie, I'm on there for football, and then I'm just on there for golf, and then I'm on there for basketball, just on there for everything.
Yeah. That's where the gambling apps have you. It's like, Conor McGregor's fighting this weekend. Well, I can just bet on them thing. And think the golf app. Can I bet on the Chiefs game? Right?
Yeah.
It encompasses it all.
Yeah. Yep. I went straight from the NFL. Actually, what happened was I was making my Super Bowl props, and I was like out of stuff I wanted to bet on. And so I went straight to NBA MVP odds and put $50 on Steph. I think it was plus 1,400 or plus 1,200. Now, the odds weren't as long as I was hoping they would be. I thought they'd be, no one's going to.
You were hoping they were like 2,500.
Yeah, I was like, no one's going to be betting on Steph for MVP, but thought I had a little something, but turns out the world's heard about Steph Curry as he's dropping 61 points.
Yeah, he's actually, quick Steph take, watching last night, he's almost underrated again. He's remarkable.
You know what?
It's remarkable how good he is.
He looks so good.
He looked remarkable.
He looks so fantastic.
I'm trying to quit Twitter. I just wanted to tweet Steph Curry is remarkable.
I'm telling you,
he hits like fadeaway threes
on
guys
who
are all over him with ease.
The shot he hit on Rudy Gay, to me, he's finishing with ease at the rim, getting inside. I mean, he looks like, I actually think he's in his prime right now. Like, he looks like he's better.
I just go, okay, LeBron's the best player. I mean, are there two? Maybe if KD's 100% healthy, maybe a little bit. Like, there aren't 5 better players than this guy.
Well, it's like, remember, it's like
he's just a dominant force.
Here comes Giannis. Here comes Luka. Here comes.
Like, Steph's team is not good, and he just dominates.
Oh my God! It's partly because Clay's gone that he's playing like this. But he looks every bit in his prime to me as he ever.
But he's not even really chucking. Like, it's in the offense. It's just he's fucking unreal.
Yeah.
I had the thought, like, how is this guy so good at basketball and also so good at golf? When does he have this fucking time? How does he keep his basketball skills so locked in 365?
Well, he spends a lot of time on it, I guess. And he's
clearly,
but he's got the golf in the garage.
I think part of it is like maybe the NBA guys I follow are always tweeting when they're working out. Like, he doesn't Instagram his workouts.
Yeah.
Right when he's doing weird shit
so you
with
don't know
Brandon Payne or whatever.
Checked out.
No. Dame, that was always a Dame Lillard beef. Like, sorry, I'm not Instagramming my workouts, guys. I'm fucking just in the gym working out.
There's something to it.
I like to keep tabs.
Yeah, that's why we do a lot of shows that we don't even post, just because like we don't need to, prove to
No,
anybody.
you just do it out, put it out there in the ether.
Yeah, we just go down the sidewalk talking. If you happen to catch us, you catch us. All right, mailbag time. A couple of mailbag questions here.